Because I have worked with children throughout my life, and it has been nothing but just a pleasure to see them, the way they love and the way they nurture and care everything around them, from little dolls and toys to the big trees. It is really amazing to see them so happy when they are in nature. All my life, in fact, I should be grateful to my mother, because at a very, very young age, it was she who helped me to get exposed to nature, though she was not really a very highly educated person, but she always encouraged, and she was very fond of gardening, and so was I. So at a very young age, we got an opportunity to live in an environment where we could do gardening and watch right from little seeds the plants grow up. And that is why I say that children are the best ambassadors, in fact, who could help us save this planet and conserve our environment. Children, to me, I feel, are just like trees. The way we plant and the way the tree grows, the way we will nurture the tree will bloom and give us flowers and fruits and shade and immense happiness. And not just all this, but they are there for our survival. Our race will survive only if we take care of them like the way we take care of our elderly people and our children. So, looking at children and trees, I feel they both are the same, and just the way we care so much for our children, we must care also for the trees and the plants and nature, and through these little angelic ambassadors to whom nurturing, caring, loving just comes naturally. The best part is that children can teach adults. In fact, when I wrote a book on parenting, I watched and worked with my own child for 25 years. It was only when he turned 25 that I felt that all the techniques have worked, and now it's time to write a book. Children can spread so much joy and excitement, the way they jump. So one thing that I was doing was, like, it started with seed bomb making a few years ago. When I started GAP, I started this project of seed bomb making, and they learned so quickly. Children just enjoyed working with the clay and soil and seed being put together, and they were so excited to go and plant them and throw them where it was required. They learned very quickly that these seed bombs are not just to be thrown anywhere. It is required to put them where that particular tree and the climate will allow it to. They have tremendous patience and resilience. You may feel at times that, oh, children are not patient, but actually, I have seen children sitting for hours and hours and focusing and concentrating, especially if we are able to show them excitement and how they are responsible for saving and conserving this earth and planet. What are the areas we can think of that children would help us? And the areas I have already worked and seen, let me share first those areas with you. First is eradication of use of plastic, which is harmful not just to the nature, but also to the animals and to the animals living in the sea. The chemicals which are left into the sea has, and so much plastic. So it was when they saw all these documentaries and when they saw all these pictures, they became so passionate about the plastic that they started telling their parents in the house how not to use plastic, how to replace plastic, which is dangerous and harmful to everyone, and to especially to the nature and animals. The next is role of waste management. Waste management was done by teaching them how to first of all separate the dry garbage and the wet garbage. And we named this project From Garbage to Gold. We actually converted, with the children being there, we gave them training and we called a specialist and conservationist and environmentalist to the flamingo club that we used to run for children, and we showed them how in a drum we collected the wet garbage, and with the use of that golden powder we converted into manure. They found it so exciting to make packets and go and give it to all the people in the surrounding societies also. A few of the societies later on made their own bin, a container kind of in their societies, to collect the wet garbage and convert it into manure. This was a very, very successful, and it is being managed by children and teenagers of that society. Role of children in pollution control. We did a PUC drive where children were explained how this was done, in fact, when the PUC began in our country. And all the children took placards and banners and they put masks. I have pictures of all those events. They put masks and then they went on the highway and they started spreading how the pollution control is harmful for us. Today, of course, everybody is wearing masks, but in those days we were trying to show that pollution can cause a lot of harm. It's also causing a lot of harm to the policemen and the traffic police who are always out there on the road. Along with that, the pollution control, they also worked on the noise control. They showed with placards how not to use crackers when they learned that the crackers were made by children in very dangerous environment, and how dangerous they are to the pollution, and how the noise affects the animals, the dogs, the cattle, the cats. They are so petrified because of that noise and the strong smell that we all went on campaigning. And I feel that a lot of children who have grown up, we have all been successful in spreading this to the society. And the use of crackers has really come down. In fact, last Diwali, we hardly heard anything. This Diwali, I'm sure we'll hear nothing. Another area which was exciting for the children, and we can really excite them, is every child wants a pet in the house. And I tell them that please get a pet only when you have an area where the pet can play happily, can jump and dance. We don't have to clip their nails, because the nails need to be filed with the dirt and the type of the flooring that the pet needs. And if you don't have that kind of environment, make a tree your pet. Adopt a tree in your surrounding, adopt a plant, a bush, and see to it that it grows and it's protected. That is your pet, because when you talk to the tree and a plant, it just thrives and it just blossoms and it gives you love back in the form of flowers and leaves and shade. And this also worked wonderfully, because they started doing this adoption in the trees around them and around their society, and they started loving this activity. When I'm talking all this, what happened is when the children were involved, automatically the parents were involved. So because of the children, we have managed to bring the adults so excited into this activities. They are again a huge fan of recycling the waste. When it comes to showing them how the plastic bottles can be converted into planters, how the paper and the waste material, how the glass bottles, using decoupage papers and using various tidbits in the house which we generally throw away, we can convert it into gift articles. Last Diwali and so many occasions, children made their own bottles and gifted them. They made sets of 3 bottles and they used beautiful lights inside them and they gifted them. This taught them that the recycling process not just helps the environment but also saves a lot of money, and people appreciate that you have put in effort to do this. This gave rise also to fundraising by doing activities and selling these articles made and talking about it, and tree plantation projects, a number of projects. It created funds which were given for various use, for little children, for others, for even for schools, for people who could not have fees. And the best thing that children loved was listening to David Attenborough's and watching the documentaries made by him and many others on the rainforest. And there were children, they had tears in their eyes when they watched that, how the penguins and the seals and the walruses are getting extinct, and they're going through so much pain. If there is no water, what is going to happen? And this series of Our Planet has made such a huge difference in their lives. I feel that along with the syllabus of science and maths and geography and everything in the school, this kind of documentaries need to be a mandate, not to be just seen at home, but to be watched in midst of teachers, in midst of compassionate people, in midst of people who are passionate about all these. And there is a huge population who is passionate, and that gives us all hope that our planet is going to definitely look like totally green, beautiful, blue and nice and green the way it already was. Next 10 years, if we do this, we will have our little children doing all this for the rest of their lives, and they will continue it for the next generation.